hood had to come off. Whoa. Back from the walk, let's make some breakfast and then let's wash this hair that's gone very curly and Greek. I've been really loving starting my day with a green protein smoothie recently, as it means I started the day on the right note and it helps with cravings later in the day. To make it, I add a block of frozen spinach in my blender and about 100 grams of frozen mango. I then chop about 1/4 of a cucumber and add that in too. I also add a scoop of this vegan protein powder and then top it with about 1.5 cups of water. I also like to add half a celery stick and sometimes ginger, but I was running low today, so it was just the basics, but it still tastes so delicious and sweet with the mango. So I blend it up and it's ready to serve. So good. I love that protein powder because it's just so earthy and I feel like it goes so well with the green smoothie. I really love the unflavored one because I just hate artificial taste, and I feel like a lot of the times with protein powders, when you have like vanilla and stuff, it's so overpowering. Saying that, I haven't tried it. So also the flavored ones usually have sweeteners and I hate sweet drinks, so yeah, I love the unflavored one basically. If you haven't tried it and you like earthy tastes, give it a try. So that's breakfast part 1. Didn't think that was my whole breakfast, did you? I'm sure you know me by now. Let's make some real breakfast while we sip on this. For breakfast, I'm starting by cutting an avocado for our avocado toast. I'm scooping out half of the avocado and mashing it with my fork. I season with salt, pepper, and a bit of lemon. I laid it on the side and I grabbed a non-stick pan and added some boiling water in it. I then cracked 1 egg in a little bowl and slowly lowered it in the water. I did that with another egg and let them cook for a few minutes. While the eggs are cooking, I grabbed a wholemeal pita from my freezer and added it to the toaster to toast. I always keep my pitas in the freezer as they last so much longer and I don't feel pressure to eat them quickly. I served my pita in my plate and then topped with my avocado. I added the eggs, seasoned with salt and pepper, and breakfast was served. And look at the yolk action. If you make poached eggs, let me know how you cook them, as I'm still trying to perfect my technique, and I'm definitely going through a poached egg avocado toast phase. I have it pretty much every day, so I just enjoyed this with another cup of tea. So I just got myself ready, I showered, and so yeah, I just did a hair mask while I was cleaning the bathroom, so I feel like my hair feels nice. I love using just plain coconut oil. I feel like it works better than any mask I've tried. So yeah, I thought we'd make some lunch now. I've bought amazing looking squashes. Squash? You say squashes? It doesn't sound right, but let me know in the comments. So I'm gonna roast them with the skin. I'll try them with the skin. If it's nice, we'll eat them. If it's not, I'll peel them after and then add them to my salad. So yeah, let's get started. I started by cutting each little squash in half and then I used a spoon to remove the seeds. I did consider roasting the seeds too, but I wasn't sure if it was going to work out. Let me know in the comments if you've ever done it and if it's worth the effort. I then chopped them in medium-sized chunks. By the way, this is my favorite roasting tin. I think it's from Jamie Oliver. I'll see if I can find it online. I've tried a few. This is so much better. I feel like nothing gets stuck here and you don't need a lot of oil. I feel like it's such good quality. I'll see if I can find it on Amazon and link it down below if you're looking for a roasting tin. I put all the squash pieces in my roasting dish, added some olive oil and seasoned with salt and pepper. I mixed everything with my hands so all the pieces are coated in oil and the spices. I then added it in a preheated oven to roast for about 30 minutes or until the squash is fork tender depending on your oven. And while the squash is roasting, I prep the rest of my salad. I got this delicious salad mix from the greengrocer, so I'm just adding it in my salad washer bowl to wash and then I just spin it to get rid of the excess water. I've also been trying to incorporate different fruit and veg in my diet, so I also had this chicory that I chopped to add to my salad too for a nice crunch. And speaking of a nice crunch, I'm also cutting up a green apple to add, as I love that tangy but slightly sweet taste that it adds to salads. I then grabbed my favorite bowl and added the salad leaves at the bottom. I topped with the chicory pieces and green apple. For our dressing, we're making a herb one as it gives such a nice fresh flavor. It really takes the salad from a 7 to a 10. And the good thing is you can mix up the herbs you use and you get a completely different dressing each time. I'm using mint and coriander as that's what I had in the fridge, but feel free to get creative and try different combos. I just added the herbs in my blender, added some olive oil, salt, a bit of water, and of course lemon juice. I just blend it up and it's ready to use. My squash is ready. Let's try it with the skin and see if it's nice. Otherwise, I'll remove it before I add it. Difficult, almost choke. So the squash itself is so tasty. I think the skin is not bad, but it's a bit like you have to work to like eat it. Such nice squash. But let me know in the comments, by the way, do you eat the squash skin? I think I might remove it because it's just gonna be easier to eat rather than choking myself. But first, let's have another bite because this is just so good. I've never had this squash before. It's so good. It's actually very easy to remove the skin, so that's good. Honestly, go to the supermarket, get these, roast them with salt and pepper or olive oil. Your life will be changed. One more. And for a protein, I'll be using tempeh as I'm trying to eat less meat and I've been really loving tempeh recently. I just cut it in slices and added it to a non-stick pan with a bit of water. I like to steam it a bit to begin with, as they say that gets rid of the bitter flavor that tempeh can sometimes have. After about 5 minutes of the tempeh steaming, I add some olive oil and season with salt and pepper. I let it cook for a few minutes and turning occasionally so both sides can have a nice golden color to them. Once they were cooked, I chopped them up in small pieces ready to top my salad with. And for the squash, I think we established the skin is a choking hazard, so I just peeled them and chopped them up in small pieces. I also had some leftover roasted Brussels sprouts, so I added them to the salad too. I then added the squash and lastly the tempeh. Finally, I topped with my herb dressing and then for some extra crunch, I added some pumpkin seeds. This was such a delicious salad and so filling because of the protein and fiber. I enjoyed it with some Gilmore Girls as that's my little treat and rest for the day. After lunch, I'm always craving something sweet, so today I'm making a pumpkin bread. I started by cracking 3 eggs in a big bowl and whisking them well. I then opened a can of pumpkin puree and added it in the same bowl as well. I added some olive oil, vanilla extract, and some oat flour, which is basically just ground up oats. I then added some almond flour, baking powder, baking soda, and then of course some pumpkin spice. I started mixing everything well, and then I realized I forgot the sugar, so I'm just adding that in and giving the mixture another mix to combine everything. I also thought some walnuts would be nice for a nice crunch, so I'm just chopping up about half a cup of walnuts in small pieces. I added those in too and gave the mixture a final stir. I lined my baking pan with some baking paper and added the cake mixture in. I smoothed it over with the back of my spoon and then I did a little jiggle and a few taps to release any bubbles. I then baked it in a preheated oven for about 45 minutes. And as always, I was too impatient to let it cool before I cut it, so the first slice started falling apart, but I never liked the end of a cake anyway, so I cut myself another slice and served it for my post-lunch treat. So good. And it feels like wholesome and nice. It's so good. And the walnuts. I'll go enjoy with more Gilmore Girls. Have a break. And recently I've been really enjoying doing some evening yoga, as even if I try to be active throughout the day, I still find myself sitting for a lot of the day, so it's nice to have some time to stretch your body. And I find it's a nice winding down activity, so perfect to start getting ready for bed later on. Today I'm doing a lymphatic flow by Yoga with Adriene. I love her videos as they're beginner friendly but also can be challenging, and I have definitely seen the difference on my core and arms when I'm consistent with her yoga videos. I'll have the video I followed linked down below if you want to try it out, but I would love to hear what yoga or workouts you like to do. I love to hear your suggestions and get inspired, so let me know in the comments. And for dinner, I was planning on making butternut squash soup, but as always, I changed my mind, so we're now making squash and ricotta cannelloni, which, spoiler alert, was insanely good. To make it, I start by roasting a butternut squash with some olive oil, salt and pepper in the oven. I just added the butternut squash, topped with olive oil, salt and pepper, and I put it in a preheated oven to roast for about 45 minutes. And to increase the protein of the meal, I'm also making some tofu ricotta that I'll be using alongside regular ricotta. To make it, I just added a block of tofu in my blender. I then added some water, lemon juice, and salt. I then blended it until it had this consistency. I added the ricotta in a big bowl, and now my squash was all roasted and had cooled down, so I'm just using a spoon to scoop out the squash from its skin and adding it to the same bowl. I then added a pack of ricotta and seasoned with salt and pepper. I also added some dried sage, as squash and sage is such a classic combo and it's delicious. I gave the mixture a good mix, and then it was time to add the filling to the cannelloni pasta. Now this is a bit time consuming as you have to fill each pasta individually, but it can also be a nice meditating time, so definitely take your time and enjoy the process. And having some nice music to listen to is always nice. I've been really into country recently, especially Luke Combs. He's got such great songs. Anyways, now it's time to make the bechamel, so I'm just adding equal parts of olive oil and all-purpose flour to a saucepan. I then added the milk and whisked it well until it thickens up. Once it had my desired consistency, I seasoned with salt and pepper and gave it another whisk, and then topped the cannelloni with the bechamel. My mom also told me it needs some milk to boil the pasta, so whatever milk I didn't use for the bechamel, I added it at the end. I then topped with a bit of cheddar and it was ready to bake at 200 degrees Celsius until it's nice and golden on the top, and that was about 45 minutes for my oven. I served some rocket on my plate, dressed it with olive oil, vinegar, salt, and served myself a big piece of the cannelloni. And my cozy dinner was served. Oh my god, it's so good. The tofu ricotta definitely gives it a nice extra flavor. And the sage is so good. Squash and sage is a classic combo. So good, so creamy. And that like tiny bit of cheese on top makes such a big difference. Overall, 10 out of 10 I would say. I know I made it, but I think I'm honest. I think I'm strict with myself, so if I say 10 out of 10, I think it's a 10 out of 10, personal opinion, but make it, tell me what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give me a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future ones. As always, the recipes will be down below. I'll see you next one.